Firstly, I just want to say thank you for inviting me, Reverend Denise, who's watching from a distance. It's really exciting to be standing in front of a live audience, and it's really meaningful to me to be speaking at a Unity church. As we all know, the modern Christianity has become a bit virulent and a bit aggressive, and to know that there's Christian teachings going on out there that emphasize the life and actions of Christ as love, forgiveness, compassion, patience, long-suffering, hanging out with the riffraff, all of the characteristics that really emanate from this church and this point of view. And it's a beacon. It's a beacon of light, right, across the landscape. So being born a human is a rather weird, mysterious, bewildering thing, right? I mean, it's no problem for a tree, right? They just grow, they have their leaves and stuff, and squirrels, rabbits, and like. For us humans, it's like we become completely bewildered. It's as if we're just kind of thrown out here and say, okay, figure it out, kid. Figure out the purpose. What's the purpose of all this? Then, like, the purpose is to figure out what the purpose is. It's like you sit down at a game, and the object of the game is to learn how to play the game. Well, over 50 years I've been doing this. I've learned one rule that I'm really confident about. There's a whole bunch that are dubious, right, that I could bring them up, but this one I'm really confident about. This one I'm sure of. And it's simply this, that no matter what happens in our human life, the divine pattern of life, as Becca so beautifully put, we have a choice. You know, there's a fork in the game that we're playing. We have a choice. We can either close our hearts and harden them, or we can open them and soften them. That has been a rule that I've seen consistent, and it actually works. And it's not easy. You know, the last words that the Buddha spoke of his life was, "O you of noble birth, remember who you are." Last words. Spiritual awakening is a remembering. It's not an attainment. It's not something you get. It's a, oh yeah, that's right. And when that light is remembered, we realize that the light's never been out. There's no on and off switch for this kind of light. It's forever. It's perpetual. We simply remember it or we don't. And this light is on right now. If you look around, it's on. There can be doubt, there can be confusion, there can be resentment, there can be anger, there can be bewilderment. But it only obscures the light, like the clouds obscure the sun. You can't get rid of it. It's pulsing in every single one of us right now. And we're here today, as we come to church anytime, to remember it and then to look for it, to see it, right? It's not enough to just know it's there. I want to see it, right? I don't want to talk about kissing. I want to kiss, right? The proof is in the pudding. And so the question becomes, how do we see it? How do we know it, right? Well, first off, you have to know what you're looking for, right? Then you have to look for it. And then you have to like go, ooh, very cool when you see it. And really embody it and call it in. The reason I called this talk that the highest self is loving awareness, it's partially because of that rule I discovered, that was always the choice. I could look at things through the eyes of loving awareness, or I could harden myself to it. I could take a position. I could be smug. I could be condescending, right? And yes, I have done all of that, right? I've earned my credibility because I don't think there's a single human mistake you can make that I haven't made, and more than once in a row. So I mean, if this is how you play the game, I'm really good at it, right? So the highest self, then, this is kind of different. Well, there's me, and then I can embody this loving awareness. But that this loving awareness actually is the self, is like, oh, That's different. And that means if it's true for you, it's true for the person sitting next to you, even if it's your husband. It's true for everybody we meet anywhere in the world, no matter what state they're in, no matter what they're doing. We can actually see the divinity in them at any time we choose to. At least starting from the point of view that I know it's there, I'm going to look for it. Even when everything inside of you just wants to it's a choice, right? A long time ago, in a galaxy far, far away, there was an order of monks and nuns. It was very big, very popular. Thousands of monks and nuns, hundreds of monasteries. And it was just flourishing. And it flourished and flourished. It was just great for like 200 years. Kept going. Just a constant stream of new monks and and nuns. But weirdly enough, times change, right? The whole monk thing didn't have the same kind of appeal. The vow of poverty, the vow of silence, the vow of obedience, and the vow of celibacy completely off the table, right? And it wasn't keeping up. And this long dynasty that had been going on for hundreds of years, within just a few decades, had decayed down to the point where there was one monastery, one chapel. It had 5 monks in it, and they were all in their 70s, like me. And they knew the time was up. I mean, there was nobody new coming in. Nobody came to church. The place was kind of run down. You know, they go and they do the services and the like, but they were just kind of getting along as best they could. And one of them decided that, you know, and presented it to his brethren. This was Brother Philip, and he said, you know, he's not a Christian, but we all know that there's this rabbi mystic who lives up in the hills. And I think we should talk to him. His reputation is that he's got this direct line to God. So I think, look, we're desperate. And everybody agreed, yeah, we're desperate. And then they said, well, okay, you go talk to him, Philip. And we'll wait here. So off he goes. And he meets up with the guy, and this old Jewish rabbi comes out and brings him in, serves him tea. They have a nice conversation. He laughs, very charming fellow. And he finally says, well, Brother Philip, what can I do for you? And he says, so he lays out this whole tale of woe, right? This horrible thing that's happening. And he says, do you have any advice for us? And the old mystic says, well, Philip, I'm afraid I don't. I have no idea what to do. Philip's totally distraught, says, well, okay, that was our last hope. And he gets to leave. As he gets to leave, the mystic says, but you know, I had a vision the other night about your monastery. He says, what? A vision? He said, yeah. He says, well, what was it? He says, well, in this vision, it was revealed to me that one of you is the Messiah. I don't know, you call it, in Christian, you call it the second coming, the Messiah, the Savior, the Comforter, one of you. And he says, what? Who? Which one of us? He said, well, it didn't say. Didn't tell me that. But it did tell me that the one who was didn't know it. He goes, oh. So he literally runs back to his other brothers. And he lays this all out for them, and they're all like, they're perplexed, right? One of us? But there was such an authority and a power behind the old rabbi's words that they believed it. So they started going down the list, you know. Brother John, oh, really, really smart, really mastered the scriptures, but he can be a bit of an ass. He's condescending. And Brother Matthew's really, really kind, but he's kind of clumsy and lazy. And they went down the whole list. And every single one of them was there was great virtues and these horrible other sides. They were perplexed. They just threw their hands up. I give up. But that thought had gotten planted, and there was no way out of it now. They started treating each other a lot better. Started deferring, being more patient, listening to each other, not emphasizing all the downsides. They were just like taking care of each other. And because they didn't know if maybe they were the one, they started taking care of themselves. They started eating better. They started shopping at Whole Foods. They were eating kale instead of potato chips. They were exercising. And the whole atmosphere changed. Now, they always had a nice grounds. I mean, the church has always had a lot of property, right? It had gotten kind of run down. And every now and then, people would show up to, take a walk in the woods and then leave. They started showing up more often. They started, like, hanging out. They have picnics, and they'd be hiking in the woods, and then they come back and have little circles, and they was giving meditation. There was Tai Chi and yoga out on the lawn and stuff. And before you know it, they were going into the chapel to meditate and to pray. And they were like listening, and they asked questions of the monks, and they participated. They actually donated money to fix the chapel up. And some of them even got interested in joining the order. Well, the monks realized that the old rules weren't going to be cutting it anymore, so they started ordaining married men, and they started ordaining women. They didn't tell Rome about that. And before you know it, this whole place was just alive again. And by the time the last of those monks finally did die, there was a whole new generation there that was living the way they had come to live, in this kind of wonderful acknowledgement and love of each other. What was the true church that Christ built, that he said he was going to make his church on? What was the real rock? I think he told us in no uncertain terms. When he asked his disciples, "Who do people think I am?" And they gave him all sorts of answers, all, interestingly enough, reincarnations of prophets. And then he says, "Okay, cool, but who do you think I am?" And Peter answers, right, impetuous as always. And he says, "You're the Christ, the Son of the living God." We all know that part of the story. But, the word Christ is Greek, and it simply means Messiah or anointed one. And all of the disciples believed that that's who he was. That's why they followed him. They thought he was the Jewish Messiah, and that's why they followed him. So there was something else there. There was some other element there that Peter saw, that Jesus acknowledged. And what I think it was is that he saw into the non-duality, the not-two-ness, the oneness of God and the manifestation of God. And it was that Jesus said he would build his church on. That recognition, that realization. Not just the recognition of him as a person with a particular mission, but that light that was shining through him. He saw a unity, a oneness. And so he was literally seeing God through the eyes of God. Like when you look at the sun, you're not seeing the sun directly, you're seeing the light, the image of it carried in the light. And so you see the light and the sun simultaneously. You can't separate them. It's like music and a song, right? Ask somebody what music is, and they'll have to hum a tune. Otherwise, you can't describe it. It's just this indescribable thing. Well, that's the nature of God, the nature of truth. There's a wonderful quote from, was it this one I want? Yeah, from the Gospel of Thomas, where Jesus said, which is my favorite gospel, by the way. I know it's not orthodox or the official canon, but it's my favorite. He says, the kingdom of God is spread upon the earth, but the people do not see it. Such an insight, such a wonderful thing to us to ponder, that it's here, right? It's sitting right next to you. It's the chair you're sitting in. And yet we don't see it. Why not? Well, that's what we have to come to terms with, isn't it? That's the whole point of human life, isn't it? This bewildering experience of being human. I think this is what we have to figure out. I got to check the time here because I get carried away and I completely forget. So if somebody reminds me if I'm going over. So this is the spark of life, right, in every single individual. Look, if there's awareness of light and sound and the body's moving, the divine is there. I don't care what else is going on. however obscured, however nasty it might seem, however unlikely a candidate for divinity you might be witnessing, the divinity is there. I had a deeply spiritual and completely unsought experience when I was 19 years old, which is over 50 years ago. And it was exactly that, completely unsought. It just came out of nowhere and just basically transformed my entire life from a drugged-out rock and roll drummer to basically this. Still a rock and roll drummer, but I'm not drugged out anymore. So what is this highest self then? What is it that Peter saw? What do we all see, right? What do we see when we look at somebody else? Well, it depends on the eyes you're looking through, right? If you're looking through the eyes of loving awareness, what do you see? Loving awareness. What else can't you see? If you're looking through the eyes of anger or resentment or bitterness or position taking, right, which is just the ego, then what are you going to see? You're going to see that too. It's amazing that we have this power to literally see what we believe, even though it's not true. Isn't that weird? But isn't that remarkable? Because that's the doorway to freedom. In the workshop I'm doing after this, the subject is from expansion to contraction, and I'm so very happy that Becca did that song before this, because it is all this play of light and shadow, of dark and night, of up and down, of masculine and feminine. It's this constant dance between all opposites. That is the nature of human life. We can't have life without it, right? I mean, every cell in your body turns over, right? In the time I've been talking, you've gone through about 2 or 3 million of them. They've died off and new ones have been reborn. As a matter of fact, the breakfast you had this morning is already your brain cells listening right now. I mean, it's really dramatic. So I wanted to share another story with you, a Bible story, about one of the most extreme examples of expansion and contraction you can imagine, and that's the story of Moses. Now, Moses, interesting character, the savior of his people and all that sort of thing. He was raised by the Pharaoh as his son. Right? So now, okay, there's this kid. He's raised as the Pharaoh. Now, the Pharaohs, the royal family of the Pharaohs, they were the most powerful, wealthiest people on the planet at the time, right? And unlimited power. And so now here's this kid. He's a prince. And they're gods on top of it, right? So here's this kid, son of a god, right? He has access to everything, total authority, total power, total knowledge, not only about the science of the times and the politics and how that all worked, but also of the priestly arts, the mysticism, the magic, the myths, the legends, the keeper of the traditions and all of that. He had all of that, right? But this is a story. It's a mythological story. It never happened. It's not a historical fact. That's not the point of it. And I'll tell a little bit more about that later. But the fact that it's not a fact doesn't actually makes it more powerful, the meaning of it, right? So Moses has to, like any hero's journey, he has to fall, right? There's no such thing as a hero story without a fall. And in this particular case, because it's a Jewish myth, he falls because he killed a Jew. Right? Now, of course, he's the son of the Pharaoh, right? And there's no consequence. In reality, there'd be no consequence for his actions. But this is a story. He's got to fall. And so he does. And he finds himself from the pinnacle of society to a shepherd sitting in the middle of nowhere. No Netflix, no YouTube, no Amazon deliveries. And his entire job is making sure some stupid sheep doesn't wander off and get killed. Now that is a story of contraction, isn't it? Total desolation. Now, in all mythological stories, the names are important. The word Moses means taken from the water. And in the Bible and other mythological writings, the water symbolizes the unconscious. the dark places of ourselves, the unexamined areas, and to bringing them out into the light. And so Moses is actually, this character is a representation of who? You. You are Moses, being taken out of the darkness of the unconscious. Now he's tending the sheep at the foot of Mount Horeb. The word Horeb means desolation. I mean, this couldn't be a more graphic story, right, if it appeared in a comic book. His entire life has been laid to waste. His entire mission in life is to be brought out of the darkness. And one day, on his day off, I guess if shepherds have days off, he was walking around in this mountain, literally walking through a mountain of desolation. And he runs across a very strange phenomenon. This bush, it's on fire and it's not burning up. And it wasn't gas operated, with fake leaves and stuff. It was actually burning, but it wasn't burning up. It just kept burning and burning and burning. Now, in the original Hebrew, that word burning means emotional or mental turmoil. Completely different picture, isn't it? This is Moses inside himself. The burning is here, and we've all experienced it, haven't we? That kind of pain or agony that should just kill us, and it doesn't. It just keeps going. But Moses does something, and it's really interesting the way it's written, because it sounds like this isn't the first time he's seen it. Just kind of the way he says it, which he says, okay, now I'm going to turn aside and see this great wonder. Why does this bush burn but isn't consumed? He starts doing this. And he looks right into the middle of his own pain. And out of the middle of the burning in that bush, he hears the voice of God. It says, Moses, take off your shoes. You're standing on holy ground. And so he does. He's now completely surrendered to this. And out of the middle of the pain, I can't emphasize that enough, in the middle of the mental and emotional turmoil, he hears the voice of God. Take off your shoes. You're standing on holy ground. So he does, which is a very richly symbolic act of taking off everything and standing on your bare feet on the ground in front of something, without costume, without position, without power, without anything, and just standing in front of it, which he did. Now, after experiencing a couple of miracles, strange things, the first one that frightened him almost to death, and the next one that enlightened him, he gets a new mission. He gets the seed of an expansion after this contraction. And he says, okay, this is great, but they're not going to believe me. By whose authority? Who is it that told me that I can do this? And what comes back is one of the greatest little bits of writing in all of religious history. Even Ramana Maharshi said so. And the voice says, I am that I am. Now, in my view, looking at this as a mythological story, in that moment, Moses saw what Peter had seen, what Thomas had seen. The I am was the I am. The I am that he was referring to was the I am. He wasn't just Moses, son of a Pharaoh, or a shepherd in the wilderness, or GP, son of Gilbert and Helen Walsh, right? It was the I am. The duality of the two just disappeared. And Moses said, I am that I am. Not the one I thought I was, but that one. And of course, he changed history for his people, at least the story did. Oh, I hate it when I have to switch things up. How long do I go for? I can't. What time? I'm good. Oh, good. I will keep going. So I want you to consider that right now for yourselves. If I say to you, or ask any of you here, who's sitting in your chair? I am. Wait, you both said the same thing. Everybody said the same thing. Well, look at that. We all have the same name. The I am. Notice that when you refer to yourself, it's not third person. You're not standing off somewhere else looking at it. Now, what if that I am is the I am? Just take that in for a second. It kind of changes everything. Kind of changes the ID tag, right? Next week, everybody's going to have I am on their on their tag. What's your name? I am. But I just urge people to take this, because this is the kind of thing that gets pondered. This is the whole point of this is the central point of meditation in many different traditions. This sense of I am. In the meditation that I teach, it's one of the things I do is to bring somebody to this place where you're looking right at the sense of your own being. And then there's this thought that says, well, I'm looking at this being. It's two, right? There's God there, and then there's me here. It's so ingrained in us. We don't even want to question the possibility that maybe that sense of being is what all the saints and sages and prophets had called God. The great I am, Buddha nature, Christ consciousness, pure awareness, pure being. And its nature that was revealed in Christ was pure love. It was, there's not a lot of evidence that even Christ existed, at least historical, archaeological evidence and the like. Right? A few writings about some character. But all of the stories and everything, there's not a lot of evidence for it. But I'm convinced that such a man existed simply because what he had to say was so different than what came before. That came from somebody inspired. That came from somebody awakened. And so I want to share with you, I think I have more time, yeah? I still have a little bit more time before we go into the meditation. Before I share this, so when I say to you, remember who you are, that's what I'm saying. Not I'm, this, and I left my keys, and and we all experience that, when you're meditating, you sit down, I'm really going to, and all of a sudden it's like, gee, I wonder what's for lunch. It's like, God, did I really say that? Oh man, that was so stupid. How could I have been so stupid when I fell over on my bike when I was 5 years old? You know the stuff that goes on in your head that just keeps coming and coming and coming. So what do? The attention goes to just the sense I am, because if there's something being known, there's something knowing it. There's something looking at it. Can a thought exist by itself? I mean, are like thoughts hanging out in the bushes? They're ready to get you as you're walking by, right? and jump in your head and play around with you. They can't be there without you. But mercifully, we can be there without them. Just notice that sense of being. Just do it right now, the sense of your own existence sitting here right now. Notice, it's effortless. It's present all the time. It isn't thinking. It's just there. This is the God within. This is the Christ within. This is what Peter saw. Now I want to share it with you one more quote about this loving awareness. Because it isn't abstract, right? Pure awareness, Christ consciousness, they sound kind of abstract, pure consciousness and all that. But it's much more earthy. It's loving awareness. It's a loving regard for everything that you look at, everything you see, everything you touch. It so overwhelms you. Sometimes it's so beautiful it hurts. And this is a quote also from the Gospel of Thomas, where Jesus said, "He who drinks of my mouth shall become as I am, and I shall be he." Wow. I'm going to go over that again because it's just so powerful. This is the words of a genuine sage. He who drinks of my mouth. What does that mean? Drink of the mouth. Partakes of it, takes it in, absorbs it. Man does not live by bread alone, but by every word that proceeds out of the mouth of God. It's the eating of Christ's body, the drinking of his blood. He who drinks of my mouth shall become as I am. There's that I am again. And when Jesus said the word I am, or I, or me, he was not talking about the body that was talking. He was one with that I am. I and my Father are one. Philip, if you've seen me, you've seen the Father. He goes on and on about it. Shall become as I am. And here's the big one, the punchline. And I shall be he. No more you. The small self just vanishes. And there's nothing but the one self, the one I am. So, at this point, I'm going to invite Becca back up so that we can go to this place together, because it's not far. It's a very short distance from here to here. Just, a foot maybe. Some of you may be taller. So, you need a faster car. So, close your eyes. Make yourself comfortable. Just kind of sink into the seat. Notice that you don't have to do anything to support yourself. The seat's doing it for you. You can really let go. And I invite you to let go. Just watch your breath. Feel your body, which is a beautiful anchor point to lead you back to pure presence, because it's always present. Interesting thing about your body is that it's always in the now. It's never in the past. It's never in the future. And just make a conscious choice right now to let go of everything in the past. Everything that's ever happened to you. All the traumas, the disappointments, the doubts, the worries, the losses, and the gains. Just set them all aside right now, because they're just thoughts. And also set aside your desires, your ambitions, your future, your aspirations, what you want the world to look like, what you want your life to be like, your highest aspirations, enlightenment. Set it all aside to just be right here, right now. And just feel yourself without anything additional added. Just like you're fresh out of the womb. Pure experience. No words, no labels, no concepts. The pure flow of experience. And as you do that, just notice what happens in the body. It immediately begins to respond. Now, inevitably, as you're doing this, the habit energy of the mind will kick in. Say, wow, this is great, or am I doing this right? Or, gee, I wonder what's for dinner. No matter what it is, just say, thank you. I don't need you right now. And just bring your attention back to this moment, to this place, where there's no past, there's no future. Forget your name. That was added later too. You're just here. Now from this place, What isn't? What is something you can't let go of? I mean, this is an exercise, but no matter what you let go of, and you could let it go of it all, what can't you let go of? What is just always going to be there? Well, that's you. And don't define it, right? Because we've pushed the past, the future, memory, language, all of it out. There's just the pure experience of your own being. No name. Does it have a form? Does it have any boundaries to it? Can you find a beginning? Can you find an end to it? Does it have a gender? Without any reference to anything other than that pure experience of presence, does it have any kind of past? Does it even exist in time? Is there time here? Is there space? Now notice, you're not in a trance. This isn't some altered state of consciousness. This isn't some kind of experience, peak or otherwise. It's a simple quieting enough to look at what's actually here, right now. And this is you. This is the I am. And it doesn't take away from everything in your life, the way your particular life has unfolded as the manifestation of this I am. But while all of that's going on, as Buddha said, remember who you are, not how you appear, not the functions you serve, not the jobs you do, but what you are. And as we get ready to come back from this meditation, I want you to notice that you're not actually going to be coming back. The only thing that happens is attention, which right now is just focused on that sense of I am, is simply going to turn around now and let in all the stuff going on in your life and in the world. But you're not going anywhere. You are forever right here. You are forever this. You are the self, the very essence of loving awareness. And through these eyes now, as you begin to open your eyes, just look around the room. What does it look like from here? I'll leave you with this quote from St. Francis of Assisi. What you are looking for is where you are looking from. Wonderful. Thank you.
I am all there is. I am all there is. If it doesn't look the way I want it to look, I look again. 'Cause I am. I trust all there is. I trust all there is. If it doesn't go the way I want it to go, I trust again. 'Cause I am. I love all there is. I love feel the way I want it to feel, I love again, 'cause I am. And love is my decision. There is only love. There's only love. Love that heals and sets us free. Oh, I love all there is. I love all there is. If it doesn't feel the way I want it to feel, I love again. 'Cause I am, oh, I am.
Wow. I don't know how you folks all feel, but I just feel a little weak in the knees from such a beautiful, powerful message for us to remember who we are. And Becca, your beautiful voice and talent and music too just blend so beautifully with the message. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. My name is Sharon Wolf, and I'm sounding a little shaky. I apologize. I've just been very moved this morning by what's going on here. I am your board host this morning, and it is my true joy to stand here as one of your members of the board and to acknowledge your lovely presence here in person and online and connect with us and take these beautiful moments to really look through the eyes of love and really see who we are. And we just need to be reminded that as we walk out of this beautiful sanctuary, that we take that with us, and that when we come in next Sunday, we feel lifted by those thoughts and our experiences along the way. For those of us who call Unity of Bellevue our home, one of the delightful practices is to share of our abundance, and that is in our service as well as our financial abundance to keep this beautiful center going and growing. As you are here today, there are various ways that you can give of your financial blessings. Ushers will be coming forward to collect. We also have a basket on back. And for those of you who are joining us online, the screen shows a couple of different ways that you may give of your financial blessings to see this beautiful thought process and movement continue to grow. And recognize we are all here by the divine pattern of life. We made the choice to be here today, so thank you. It's a joy to be here with you. As you hold your donation or your pledge or your love offering in your hand and in your heart, I would just ask that as you say these words, and join me in the affirmation, that look at those words and feel them, not simply recite them. So with that, I ask you to join me. Divine love through me blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. And so it is. Thank you.
Let's all raise our hands to give a blessing. Divine Spirit, we are so grateful that you are always giving. We intend to be channels of that givingness, of that generosity, so that this community can thrive in blessing, in prosperity and abundance, in love and compassion. We are so grateful for these tithes and love offerings. We are so grateful for all of the love that they represent, all of the time and talents that are also given to help this community grow and expand in awareness and in supplying all of our needs, that we might awaken people to their spiritual nature. We are so grateful, and so it is. Thank you. Good morning. My name is Monica McDowell-Elvig. I'm your center administrator, and I have some announcements for you. If you are visiting with us for the first time, we give you a big, warm Unity of Bellevue welcome. We have welcome packets for you to the left of the sanctuary doors as you exit, and if you're online, you can go to unityofbellevue.org and go to the I'm New page and just click on that button, and I will send you a welcome packet in the mail. The best way to stay in touch with everything that's happening at Unity of Bellevue is to sign up for our weekly e-newsletter, and you can do that on our website. At the bottom of every page is a sign-up form. The prayer chaplains are here to pray with you. Lori Coleman is our prayer chaplain today. She will be in the library following service for our hybrid prayer circle. If you would like the Zoom link for that, that is on our launch page on our website. You can also email them prayer requests. You can fill out the prayer request cards in the seat backs or by the south entrance and put them in the prayer box there. And there's also a form on our website that you can fill out. GP Walsh, he is going to be holding a hybrid workshop at noon here and online. We'll take a little break. You can get some refreshments back in our friendship room. And join us here. That is by registration. So if you haven't registered and you'd like to attend that and you're in person, meet me in the bookstore. We'll get you signed up. If you're online, you can go to our website. There's a link to register online on our webpage under classes, under events. And that will email you the Zoom link so you can join in on the Zoom link for that workshop. It is on expansion and contraction, like he mentioned during his talk. So join us for that. Also, just to remind those of you who haven't been here in the last couple of weeks, this is our new series that Reverend Denise is doing. It'll take us through April, The Untethered Soul. You can buy a copy in our bookstore. You can buy a copy online through our website store. There's also a free workbook that goes along with that, with pages to read along with her talks. You can pick that up in the library. You can also download it through our newsletter. We have a few Lenten booklets left, not many, but if you would like a free Lenten booklet from Unity, there's some on the exit door, or I will send you one in the mail. And there's also a prayer written for, as we call, a new minister. So if you would like to take that with you so that we can be praying together in the same consciousness for inviting that new senior minister. Our annual meeting is next week. Following service, instead of Q&A, we will have a hybrid meeting here in the sanctuary and on Zoom. We're going to have a potluck in between, so just remember to bring some food so that we can get some nourishment before we head into our meeting. Our next shredding event is Saturday, March 11th. It's a fundraiser. It's free. You can donate to Unity of Bellevue. You can also donate cans for our new little free pantry. If you would like to volunteer for that, see me or Sabrina. And it's a great opportunity to shred your documents. Hiking, if you would like to be on our hiking list, let me know. We're gonna start coordinating our next hike. So we've got a good group of people who are doing that, and we'd love to have you join us. Today is the last Sunday of the month, so it's Volunteer Appreciation Sunday. So if you have provided any sacred service during the month of February, board, prayer chaplain, usher, greeter, AV, we have so many, the florist, Linda does beautiful flowers. Please stand. Jamie, our song leader, please stand so we can give you our gratitude, big gratitude. Thank you. Building monitors. We've got a lot of people who help bring this community together every Sunday. A big thank you again to GP Walsh for that deep and insightful talk. Thank you for being here with us. We hope you will join us again in the future. Thank you. And of course to Becca, our beautiful Becca, for her beautiful music. Next week, Reverend Denise is back. She's continuing her series, and the talk is Experiencing Energy, and Stephen Plummer will be our guest artist. Let's close with the peace song, followed by the prayer for protection.
Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me. Let there be peace on earth, the peace that was meant to be. With God as Creator, family all are we. Let us walk with each other in perfect harmony. Let peace begin with me. Let this be the moment now. With every step I take, let this be my joyous vow. To take each moment and live each moment in peace eternally. Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me.
The light of God surrounds us. The love of God enfolds us. The power of God protects us. The presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, God is, and all is well. Thank you, everyone. Have a blessed week. We love you all.
You and I, we all are one. Made up of a